Hello, fellow Moms Club members. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak today. I would like to talk to you ladies about building a community here in Midland. I know most of you moved here from other cities. You were separated from your families. You're kind of out here on your own, which is what has brought all of us together, which I think is super cool. I want to encourage you to think about the things that I'm going to talk about and then make a call to city council or write a letter, and let's try to get some of these things off the ground. A friend of mine a couple years ago started writing a letter every single week to the city of Midland about our parks, and I think that solely because she took the initiative to do that every single week, we have some really amazing new parks here in our city. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. When my husband and I moved here with our 3 kids, now 4, we knew that was going to be home for us. This was our final place. We have no plans to leave Midland. And I started doing a little bit of research, and there are over 100 homes in Midland that cost $1 million or more. And we are not that big of a town. So what that tells me is that there's a lot of cash flowing through here. And so there are some things that our town needs to be updated on. One of those things is recycling. I've talked to many of you, and I think that we all feel the same way, that it drives us crazy that Midland does not have a recycling system. Recently, a company came in called Green Daisies, if you don't know about them, because there's no other thing, I highly recommend them, but they actually take all of our recycling and they ship it off to California, which is ridiculous when we could have facilities here to take care of that sort of thing. Another thing that I know I've talked to several of you about is the fact that there's not a splash pad here. We have to drive to Odessa, which is 40 minutes away, and when you have 4 kids, to get everybody dressed and everybody in the car and that sort of thing, it can just be really frustrating. And I know that people are very concerned about water conservation in our town, and it was the same way in Las Vegas, but they had amazing recycling systems put in place to help with that sort of thing. Another thing that I think that we really need to be talking to our city councilmen about is building some kind of like community garden where people come together and we're growing and producing and building community within a garden. And on top of that, it could be feeding the homeless and feeding people that are less fortunate. And so another thing that I loved about living in Fort Worth was they had an amazing aquarium set up there where it was indoors, so when it was too hot, like, we had a place to go and cool off. Another thing that my husband and I have talked about is there's no indoor play places in Midland, and it would be so awesome to see something like that where we as moms can take our kids to play when it's 110 degrees and the wind is blowing 100 miles an hour and it feels like you're in a blow dryer. Just a place where we can go and take our kids. We have a museum here that's awesome, but as you all know, it has been run down. There's train tables with no trains. There's an awesome little like grocery store area, but it's completely outdated and all the stuff is plastic. And so I think that we just need to take the initiative to be writing our councilmen every day or every week or every month, whatever you have the time to do, and just really bring up some of these valid things that if you want people to come to Midland and you want people to stay here, no matter if it's a boom or a bust, if we create a space for our families, they will want to stay no matter what is happening with oil. And so I encourage you to take the time in the next few weeks to write a letter, and let's see if we can get some of these things brought to our community so it's a place that we want to live and want to stay. Thank you.